The house is gone. It's exploded. There's nothing left of it.
A metro neighborhood shaken awake, devastated by a home explosion.
I'm heartbroken for them.
The latest on the search for evidence into what caused this.
I spoke to the neighbors who jumped in.
Live, local, late breaking. This is KOCO 5 News at 5.
A Metro family absolutely devastated tonight. Their daughter killed when their home exploded early this morning. Sky 5 showing you the aftermath live tonight. The mother, father, brother, all seriously injured, rescued by neighbors. They were rushed to the hospital.
We have team coverage on this tonight. We got KOCO's Dylan Richards joining us live with the latest details from investigators about what caused the blast. We will also hear from KOCO's Christine Stanwood after she spoke with neighbors who ran toward the danger to help. And we thank you for joining us here at 5 o'clock tonight. I'm Evan Onstein.
I want to welcome you in tonight. I'm Jessica Shambach, and we begin our coverage with KOCO's Dylan Richards. Dylan, just a very active investigation happening right now. What do we know at this point about a cause specifically?
It continues to be a very active investigation, Jessica. Good evening to you. State investigators believe this was a propane gas related explosion. I want to show you what this scene looks like right now. The home obviously leveled, debris scattered everywhere into the trees, clear across the neighborhood in a really morning of destruction. A family home leveled tonight after an explosion rocks this neighborhood near Memorial and Midwest Boulevard.
I hear people screaming outside. There was a large explosion. I think someone's house exploded.
The blast felt across the metro. Neighbors nearby thought it was an earthquake. Insulation falling from the sky, blanketing the neighborhood. The family identified tonight as Sean and Tanda McGuire and their son Hayden. Their daughter Berkeley died in the explosion. Tonight, investigators believe the blast sparked after what they called a log lighter was leaking gas into the home. Investigators say the lighter could have already been in the home before this family moved in.
All these new constructions that go up, people's putting in log lighters. We are working with all city officials and city code enforcement officers to let these people know, hey, these log lighters are illegal. They do not have a pilot safety shutoff.
Again, that investigation still underway tonight. Governor Kevin Stitt saying he and the First Lady are heartbroken to hear about this. And tonight, the Secretary of Energy and Environment releasing a statement saying in part today, quote, "We are committed to fully investigating and understanding the cause of this incident in hopes of ensuring something like this never happens again." We will have more tonight at 6 o'clock about that very active investigation and some of the debris caught by a neighbor's doorbell camera just seconds after that explosion happened. For now, live in Oklahoma City, Dylan Richards, KOCO 5 News. Back to you.
Just awful to see that debris behind you there, Dylan. Thank you. And knowing that was someone's home. Our team coverage continuing tonight with Sky 5 pilot Chase Rutledge. And Chase, you were at the station this morning when this happened. You felt the explosion like so many other people who woke up to that. Tonight, you're flying above it. Just tell us what you're seeing from your view.
Yeah, well, first of all, Jessica, we're seeing a neighborhood that is still in shock, and you can see as we pull out from our shot a little bit, some of the damage from this explosion. There at the top left of your screen, a roof from a neighboring house was damaged, and across the street we saw some debris in a tree, as well as some of that insulation on rooftops. And you know, this is going to take a while to clean up, and I'm sure, you know, thoughts and prayers definitely go out to the McGuire family today. And we're seeing a lot of friends and family, I'm sure, on the scene trying to figure out what happened here. And we're going to continue to bring you the information. I know Christine and Dylan have been on the scene since this morning. So definitely something hard to cover. Back to you guys.
We were absolutely devastated for this family. Chase, thanks so much. We appreciate that. And tonight we're hearing from several neighbors who are hurting tonight as well. They didn't just hear the blast, they felt it, and then they rushed in to help in any way they could.
I want you to know that some of this may be tough to hear. KOCO's Christine Stanwood was there on the ground. She was talking to neighbors just moments after this happened.
I spoke to several neighbors living down this street after an intense morning, several of whom jumped into action, willing to help this family after this tragic explosion.
And sirens and screaming.
I'm having a hard time. I'm in shock.
139th Street will
never be the same.
We thought it was an earthquake. It's not an earthquake.
It was not a natural disaster.
Didn't just hear it, you felt the explosion?
Their neighbor's home completely leveled.
There's nothing left of it. Our neighbors are all hurt.
The father of the home walking out in shock.
His clothes were tattered all over his body. Just kept repeating over and over again that I plugged in the coffee pot and I got electrocuted and the house blew up.
Neighbors helping the father search for his daughter.
My husband and the other neighbors started digging for his kids and see if they could find his daughter.
Neighbors pulling the girl out.
And they started doing CPR so they could try to save her.
But they could not.
It's horrible. I mean, they are a sweet family, just the nicest people.
The one thing I asked these neighbors is, what can we as a community do to step in and help? The resounding answer, pray. Pray for this family. Christine Stanwood, KOCO 5 News.
A lot of prayers going out for this family tonight. Christine, thank you. And of course, we'll continue to follow this developing situation. Several efforts underway right now in the community to help the family. We have more information and more story details for you posted right now in our KOCO mobile app.
We want to turn to this. A suspect behind bars tonight after a high-speed chase through Oklahoma City.
That's right. Police say that suspect connected to a string of home invasion robberies in Norman. We told you about this last night. Their getaway spotted shortly after our story aired.
KOCO's Patrina Adger joining us tonight with how they were captured.
Evan and Jessica, Oklahoma City police spotted that maroon Mustang and initiated a traffic stop near the expressway in Blackwell. They're about 2 miles away. When that driver didn't stop, it took off here down Classen, right past our cameras. KOCO 5 covering a protest near 23rd and Classen Wednesday night when that red maroon Mustang sped by with police hot on its tail.
Verified that this was the same vehicle that Norman Police Department was looking for.
That Mustang with custom wheels spotted on store surveillance camera after 3 suspects used a credit card from one of their victims. Norman police say the trio involved in 3 home invasion robberies there early Monday morning. One victim, an 81-year-old man, violently attacked.
They held the individual at gunpoint. They ended up pistol whipping the individual and then stole several electronics in his wallet.
The high-speed chase ended at an apartment complex near 59th and South May after officers threw out stop sticks.
At this point, we believe that we have positively identified the driver as one of the suspects.
The passenger in the car was released and doesn't face charges. OCPD has identified the other 2 suspects and are working to bring them into custody. Patrina Adger, KOCO 5 News.
Tonight, more developments after a grand jury in Louisville, Kentucky announced their findings in the Breonna Taylor case yesterday.
One of the 3 officers indicted on one charge, but it is a charge not related to her death, and that sparked protests and violence in cities across the country. KOCO's Abigail Ogle joining us. Abby, 2 Louisville police officers were shot during a protest last night.
Right, shot during a protest there in Louisville. Major Aubrey Gregory treated and released for a gunshot wound to the hip, and Officer Robinson Desroches was shot in the stomach. He had to have surgery, but we're told he is recovering tonight. That protest in Louisville, one of several around the country. One also held here in Oklahoma City, where everything remained peaceful. Now, the mayor of Louisville addressing the citizens of his hurting city today.
Well, the question obviously is, what do we do with this pain? There is no one answer, no easy answer to that question, but I do know this. Violence is not the answer, and destruction is not the answer.
You see this mugshot. 26-year-old Lorenzo Johnson was arrested for shooting both of those Louisville police officers. He's now facing several charges for assault and wanton endangerment of police officers. Across the country, there are still calls for justice for Breonna Taylor. Tonight here in the Metro, a vigil planned for 8 o'clock at Nappy Roots Bookstore. It's being hosted by Black Lives Matter OKC. They say the goal is to uplift and hold space for all Black lives, especially Black women. Back to you.
All right, Abby, thanks very much. The late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg continuing to lie in repose for a second day atop the steps of the highest court.
Well, President Donald Trump paying his respects today as the battle over her replacement continues. KOCO's Sally Kidd with the latest developments from Washington.
We have seen a steady stream of mourners again today, hundreds waiting in line to view the casket of the late Justice Ginsburg. President Trump and the First Lady also stopping by this morning. President Trump was greeted with boos and chants as he paid his respects to the liberal-leaning justice. On Saturday, he's scheduled to announce Ginsburg's replacement. The president has said he will select a nominee from a list of 5 women. Federal Judge Amy Coney Barrett is widely considered to be favored for the nomination. The Republican Senate Majority Leader saying he will move quickly toward a confirmation vote, likely before the November 3rd election.
Saturday afternoon, 5 o'clock. It's going to be a very important day in the history of our country. I think it's going to be a very monumental, very good choice.
Why go to such great lengths to ram through a justice mere weeks before an election, making a complete mockery of their previous position? Because this is the only way for Republicans to achieve their radical right-wing agenda.
Now, Justice Ginsburg will lie in state at the U.S. Capitol tomorrow and then be buried alongside her husband in a private ceremony next week at Arlington National Cemetery. Reporting from Washington, I'm Sally Kidd.
And Oklahoma's U.S. Senator James Lankford paying his respects to the late Supreme Court Justice today. He shared these photos saying, quote, Justice Ginsburg dedicated her life to shattering glass ceilings. The difference her service made in the lives of women everywhere, including in my own family, will never be forgotten.
Still to come, a last-minute push tonight from 2 groups on both sides of the criminal justice reform debate. Should Oklahoma end the use of repeat sentence penalties for nonviolent crimes? Tonight we are hearing from both sides on that issue.
And we have a big change to our forecast for the weekend. Storms and a severe weather chance you can now expect this Sunday.